Welcome to JK Tells a Story, where real-life dramas unfold. Sit back and enjoy today's tale. I had been feeling unwell for about a week, but one day while at work at Lone Star Insurance on Congress Avenue, I went to the restroom and the burning sensation that followed was so intense it made me cry out in pain. It felt like fire coursing through my body. I left the office immediately and drove through downtown Austin traffic to see Dr. William Thompson at his practice near Seton Medical Center. He'd been our family physician for nearly 10 years, had delivered all 3 of our children, and had seen us through every family crisis. After a thorough examination and several tests that seemed to take forever, he called me into his private office. "Mike, I need to ask you some very personal questions," Dr. Thompson said, his usually warm demeanor replaced by professional concern. "They're not easy, but they're necessary." I was confused. I wondered what personal questions had to do with my physical pain. "Okay, I guess document. But why?" "Well, I'm afraid I have to tell you this, Mike. You have a sexually transmitted infection. It's treatable and will go away with medication, but it's still an STI." His words hit me like a freight train. I struggled to comprehend what he was saying. How could this be possible? I had never cheated on Patricia, not even a simple touch with another woman. Yet here I was, sitting in this office, being told I had contracted something that could only come from intimate contact. "Mike, are you okay?" he asked, seeing the shock on my face. "No, I'm really not. How is this possible? I've never been unfaithful to Patricia. Never." The doctor continued with his questions. "Who have your intimate partners been recently?" "My wife. She's the only one. I've only been with her." My stomach twisted in knots, and I felt nauseated. Dr. Thompson handed me a small trash can from his desk just in time for me to be sick. It took a moment to regain my composure, and then the realization struck me like a physical blow. My wife must have given me this infection. The shock of that knowledge was overwhelming. Our doctor had been with us since we moved to Austin in 2009. He had delivered our 3 children and watched our family grow. His expression was one of deep sorrow. "I'm sorry, Mike. Given that you occasionally travel to Dallas and Houston for the company, I thought perhaps." He trailed off diplomatically. "So what do I do now, Doc? My wife must have been cheating on me or hiding something important. What's the next step?" "You have to be completely honest with me, Mike. If you've been with anyone else, even once." "I told you, Doc. I've never been with another woman. Or man," I added, noticing the look on his face as if he was about to ask that very question. "Then we must assume your wife transmitted this to you. You'll need to tell her immediately, and she needs to come in for treatment. Hopefully it hasn't progressed too far." He explained that she would need to provide information about her recent contacts, and if there was more than one person, they would all need to be notified for testing. "Why do you need to know all that?" "We must inform everyone she's been with. They have a right to know. The Texas Department of State Health Services requires it, and I'm sure a public health investigator will need to look into it." As I sat there, the reality of my seemingly proper wife cheating on me began to sink in. What would happen when I got home to our house in Cedar Park? What would she say? How could she betray our marriage after 15 years? Just as our children were reaching an age where Patricia and I could finally enjoy time together again. Leaving the doctor's office, I felt numb, unable to process my anger or confusion. I drove home through the afternoon Austin traffic, past the familiar landmarks of our adopted city. I arrived home early for the first time in months and found our car gone. The house was empty. The kids were still at their schools. For the next 3 hours, I sat in silence in our living room, yearning for a drink, but unable to indulge because of the medication I was now taking. As I replayed the last few years with my wife in my mind, wondering when she had decided to step outside our vows, I heard the front door open. Her laughter filled the room as she entered, but it died instantly when she saw me sitting there. A man I didn't recognize followed closely behind, looking like a child caught in mischief. "Oh, Mike, "What are you doing home in the middle of the day?" she asked, shock evident on her face. Her expression changed when she saw the anger in my eyes. I was furious. Had she really been with this guy in our home? Was she so careless that she had brought another man into the house I had provided for our family in this quiet Cedar Park neighborhood? I could feel my anger boiling over. "Mike, what are you talking about?" she asked, confused and growing defensive. I exploded. "You gave me an STI, and I had to go to the doctor today because of it," I hissed, struggling to keep my composure. "You need to see a doctor right now." "How dare you accuse me of that?" she shot back, her face flushing red. "That's exactly what you are. My supposedly faithful wife has been unfaithful, and I have an infection that I could only have gotten from you. I've never cheated on you." My voice echoed through our home. "Just go get checked out." The realization of being caught hit her hard, and I couldn't hold back my anger any longer. She burst into tears, knowing she had been exposed. I collapsed back into my chair, overwhelmed. Her companion turned to leave quickly, likely rushing to get medical attention himself, unaware of the full gravity of the situation. Had he given it to her, or had she gotten it from someone else entirely? "I'm so sorry, Mike. I didn't know," she pleaded through her tears. "I don't want to hear your excuses," I interrupted. "I don't want to hear how this is somehow my fault or just a lapse in judgment. Just leave and tell the doctor who you've been with. He needs to know." Suddenly, exhaustion washed over me. All I wanted was to lie down and forget this nightmare. I sat in silence as she stood there crying until she finally turned and left. A little later, I heard our car start and pull out of the driveway. I sat there feeling like my entire life had unraveled in a single afternoon. In just one dark day, I had gone from being a happily married man to someone who had been betrayed by the person he trusted most. 15 years of marriage, since we were college sweethearts at UT, felt shattered beyond repair. I needed a drink. Ignoring the doctor's advice, I poured myself a double bourbon. It didn't last long, and neither did the next 4. Later, sitting on our bed still in my work clothes and half-drunk, I heard the kids come home from their respective schools. Emma from Anderson High, Danny from the middle school, and Lily from the elementary. Patricia hadn't returned yet. As they walked in and saw me in my suit, obviously having been drinking, they immediately began asking questions. "Daddy, why are you home so early? Are you okay?" Emma looked worried. At almost 15, she had an intuitive sense that something was terribly wrong. "You've been drinking, Dad. What's going on?" Danny asked, shocked at my appearance. I looked at my 3 children, Emma, Danny, and little Lily. Emma, at 17, had a knowing look in her eyes, while Danny at 14 was genuinely confused. Lily at 10 was just worried I might get sick. "Don't throw up, Dad. I'll get you a bowl or something," Lily offered sweetly. "I won't, sweetheart. Look, kids, I came down with something that your mother may have passed along to me. She's at the doctor now getting checked out. She'll be home soon. Just go to your homework. Everything will work out fine." Danny and Lily left the room, relieved to escape the uncomfortable situation. They had never seen me like this before, and I felt ashamed. I loved my children deeply and had always tried to teach them the importance of honesty and doing the right thing. I noticed Emma was still with me, sitting a bit farther away on the bed. I looked at her and saw tears in her eyes. "Emma, honey, what's wrong? It's just a medical issue. I'm sure we'll be fine." "No, Dad, it won't be fine." Her soft words took a moment to register. "I should have told you months ago. I should have said something." "What should you have told me, dear?" "About Mom and some guy. I saw them together." I was taken aback. "What do you mean?" "It was back in December. I was supposed to be at school, but there was a winter storm warning and we got sent home early. I got home around 10 in the morning, not long after Lily left for school. I came in quietly because I wanted some time to myself before Mom found chores for me to do. I heard noises from the guest bedroom, and when I peeked in, they were. Her voice broke as her composure crumbled. Her breakdown broke my heart. I pulled her into my arms, stroking her hair, trying to comfort her. My 15-year-old daughter had witnessed something no child should ever see, her mother being unfaithful. Strangely, I felt a bit relieved that it hadn't happened in our marital bed, though that was small consolation. Emma cried for a long time, then eventually got up to freshen up. I sat there feeling lost and alone, as if my best friend and trusted partner had stabbed me in the back, leaving me vulnerable and hurting. Emma organized dinner for everyone. I wasn't hungry, but I sat with them while they ate. Danny was full of questions, but a look from Emma silenced him. I wasn't ready for any inquiries at that moment. The kids rushed off after eating when they heard Patricia's car pull up in the driveway. Emma lingered behind, seeming to read my mind. Dad, if it comes to a divorce between you and Mom, we want to be with you. She's changed a lot since we moved here. Thank you, honey. I'm not sure what's going to happen now, but I'll remember what you told me. Patricia walked into the very quiet house. Mike, are you here? In the kitchen, I replied. She entered with a look of sadness and guilt that I had never seen before. Sitting down across from me at our breakfast table, I noticed tears streaming down her face as she fumbled nervously with her car keys. So, what did the doctor find out? I have an STI. I gave it to the one love of my life. Oh God, I'm so sorry, Mike. I never meant to hurt you. I didn't want to hear her lies or excuses. I just wanted to distance myself from her. The anger bubbled within me, and I felt an urge to confront her more aggressively. In an effort to prevent myself from acting on those feelings, I had to get away from her. Look, it's too late for you to find another place to stay tonight. You can sleep in the guest bedroom. Go get your things, all of your things, and put them in there. I have to go into work tomorrow and make arrangements for vacation time. We'll talk another time. I got up and left the room, retreating to my home office, my sanctuary. Sitting at my desk, I broke down and cried like a child. I heard Patricia moving around, but soon it grew quiet. When I finally got up and went into our bedroom, I saw empty closets, empty shelves, and dresser drawers wide open, reflecting my own emptiness. My life felt void except for my kids. They were all I had left that I truly valued. Sleep eluded me, and the next morning I woke feeling terrible. After showering, I headed into work at Lone Star Insurance, arriving before anyone else. In the quiet of the morning, I made a decision that would impact my whole family for a long time. After making a few phone calls, I managed to secure 3 weeks of vacation and left work behind. When I returned home to Cedar Park, Patricia was sitting alone in our living room. I could see she had been crying. Her eyes were red, and used tissues lay scattered on the end table. I stood just inside the front door, memories of our years together flashing through my mind. I wondered what had happened to us. Mike, where do we go from here? I know you must hate me. I haven't been a good wife lately. I want you to know, I never brought anyone into our bedroom. But there was more than one person, she confessed quietly. Really, Patricia? You couldn't just be unfaithful with one person? You had to involve multiple people? God, I thought I knew you all this time. Did you ever really love me? Oh, I've always loved you, Mike. I can't explain why I strayed. I just felt lonely and unappreciated. John was the first. He made me feel alive and beautiful again. I felt special with him, and then there were others. The more it happened, the more I thought I needed it. Now, knowing what I've done to you and the kids. Her head dropped into her hands, her shoulders shaking as she cried. I stood there in the entryway, wrestling with conflicting emotions. Hate, anger, fear, and yes, even love. I still loved her, even though she had shattered my heart. It all happened so fast. I felt I had no choice but to still love her, but I knew that would change soon. What you did is about the worst thing you could have possibly done. It's not just about me or the kids. It's about you too. I don't understand why, and frankly, I don't want the details. You were unfaithful with more than one man, and now you're facing the consequences. Now you're sorry, but I can't help thinking you're sorry you got caught or that you contracted something. Not that you cheated on me, just that I found out. That's not true. I never meant to hurt you, Mike. I've always loved you above everyone else. She insisted, her voice trembling. Always? So much that you sought out other men to fill some void that I apparently wasn't filling for you. Mike, don't be cruel. I know I messed up things between us. I know you have every reason to hate me. Is there any hope for us at all? I still love you so much. I really do. I can't live without you, Mike. I can't. You love me? Do you really think I'm a fool? Your so-called love led to this situation. I don't know what kind of love makes a wife seek comfort with others. I thought I knew you, but until this moment, I realized I didn't know you at all. You've broken my trust, and I can't see how it can ever be repaired. Once we're divorced, you can be with whoever you want, and I pray you find the satisfaction you were looking for. Please, Mike, don't say that. We can work it out. I'll never cheat on you again. I'll do anything to stay with you. Anything at all. Really? Then do something to change yourself. I paused, seeing hope flicker in her eyes before continuing. But you can't, can you? This isn't going to work out between us. I don't believe in second chances when it comes to betrayal. You had your opportunity and you blew it. How can I be sure you'll never betray me again? I never would have thought you could do this, yet you did. I can't trust you now, at least not for a long time. What kind of life would that be for either of us? I'd always be wondering if you were with someone else, doubting your loyalty. I can't see us moving past this. I thought about it last night and today. For now, you can stay in the guest bedroom, but you should plan on finding another place to live soon. No, please, Mike. One more chance is all I'm asking for. She was sobbing now, her shoulders shaking as she begged for that one last opportunity. But I felt nothing for her anymore. I gave you 15 years, the best 15 years of my life, and you threw them all away for fleeting excitement that I guess I couldn't provide. You did this to us, Patricia. Either change your ways or start packing. Let me explain. If I told you how it all happened, I don't want to hear your story of how it happened. You'll just try to twist it into being my fault, and I won't accept that. I was here for you, loving you completely. I was busy with work, but I always made time for you. You just couldn't live with that, could you? Now you can have what you wanted with others. I hope they bring you satisfaction, because you'll never get it from me again. We lived together for the next 2 months, and during that time I discovered what had led to all of this. Patricia had grown bored with our relationship. One day while I was on a business trip to Houston, she went out with a friend to some bars on 6th Street. They were approached by men, and before she knew it, she found herself in a compromising situation. Patricia blamed the alcohol for loosening her inhibitions and blamed me for being away too much. In reality, I was hardly gone, maybe just once a month for one night at most. We had massive arguments over her admissions, and things only got worse. The breaking point came when I discovered she had been meeting someone regularly. One evening, I came home early from work and found clear evidence that someone had been in our house. Men's cologne in the guest room, unfamiliar items left behind. When I confronted her about it that night, she broke down and admitted she had been bringing someone to the house during the day when the kids were at school. That was the final straw. I told her she had to leave immediately. Pack your bags. You have 1 hour, and then you need to find somewhere else to stay. I can't have this in our children's home anymore. The next morning, Patricia came back to get more of her belongings. Emma was home from school with a mild fever, and when she saw her mother packing, something in her snapped. She confronted Patricia in the driveway. How could you do this to Dad? How could you do this to us? Emma's voice was shaking with anger and hurt. Patricia tried to explain, to reach out to her daughter, but Emma stepped back. Don't touch me. Just leave. When Patricia's car wouldn't start, an old problem with the battery, Emma looked at it with satisfaction. Looks like you'll have to call someone else for help. We're done helping you. We went inside, leaving Patricia to figure things out on her own. Our divorce was surprisingly straightforward. Patricia didn't fight it. Perhaps she knew she had no ground to stand on. I ended up with the house and primary custody of the children. She received a portion of my retirement savings, half of our joint savings, and her car. My lawyer at a firm downtown suggested I could have negotiated better terms, but after 15 years together, during which Patricia had been faithful for most of them, I felt compelled to be fair. The children missed their mother initially but were also angry with her for her betrayal. Emma had witnessed Patricia's infidelity firsthand, and later I learned that Danny and Lily had also spotted her with other men at different times. It was devastating for all of us. Patricia was allowed visitation, a few days each month and a week during the summer, but the children never wanted to go. Emma treated Patricia coldly during those visits, and the boys followed her lead. Eventually, I enrolled all 3 children in counseling with a family therapist near the Arboretum, and gradually they began to cope better with the situation. We started building a new life as a single-parent household in our Cedar Park home. Patricia slowly faded from our daily lives, maintaining minimal contact with the children and none with me. I preferred it that way. Every time she crossed my mind, the pain of her betrayal resurfaced like a fresh wound. The first year was the hardest. I threw myself into work at Lone Star Insurance, often staying late to avoid the empty feeling at home. The kids and I developed new routines. Danny took on more responsibilities around the house. Lily became more independent, and Emma stepped into a quasi-motherly role that I sometimes worried was too much for her. We went to family counseling regularly, and slowly we began to heal. By the second year, I felt more stable. The raw anger had subsided into a dull ache, and I could function normally most days. The third year brought a kind of acceptance I hadn't expected. I realized I had not just survived the betrayal, I had rebuilt something stronger. 3 years passed more quickly than I expected. It was now 2023, and Emma had turned 20 and was in her junior year at UT, majoring in business. Danny, now 17, was maturing rapidly into a fine young man, and Lily at 13 was showing signs of inheriting her sister's beauty and intelligence. One day, Emma approached me about my personal life. "Dad, you need to start dating again. It's time," she said with the directness that had always characterized our relationship. The next day, I found myself looking around our office building on Congress Avenue with new eyes, wondering how to approach the possibility of dating again. I had no idea how to navigate this new territory. I hadn't flirted with anyone in years, and the thought of putting myself out there felt overwhelming. Part of my hesitation came from fear of rejection. While I was confident in business, Lone Star Insurance had promoted me to senior claims manager. Patricia's betrayal had shaken my confidence in personal relationships. One afternoon, I overheard 2 women chatting near the copy machine. "You know, Dan is attractive, but he's too young. Ted's a player, but Mike, he's really handsome, though he seems so distant," one said. "I'd love to get to know him better, but he doesn't seem to notice any of us," the other replied. "I know what you mean. I wish my husband was half the man Mike is. He's strong and good-looking. It makes me wish I were single again." I felt a mixture of embarrassment and an unexpected surge of pride. I had never thought of myself as particularly attractive to other women, but apparently, some of them did. I slipped back to my office, hoping they hadn't realized I'd overheard their conversation. That night, I sat in my home office with a drink, something I hadn't done in a long time. When Emma came home from a date, she found me there and immediately sensed something had shifted. "Dad, I found the perfect woman for you," she announced excitedly. "She's smart, attractive, and successful." "Emma, I think I can find my own dates," I replied, but she wouldn't let up. "Just hear me out. I can arrange a dinner for you too. No pressure, just a chance to get to know each other." Despite my reservations, I found myself agreeing to let her set something up if I hadn't found a date on my own within a month. Emma's enthusiasm was both touching and concerning, and I realized she was worried about my long-term happiness and well-being. Later that evening, Emma returned home from a date and excitedly said, "Dad, I found the perfect woman for you. She's smart, beautiful, and successful." "Emma, I can find my own dates," I replied, but she insisted. "Let me set you up. Just dinner, no strings attached." I was reluctant, but she convinced me to agree. "Fine, but only if I don't have a date in a month." The next week, I tried to ask out one of the ladies I had overheard, Rebecca Matthews from our claims processing department. But my attempt was poorly timed and poorly executed. She looked at me in confusion, and I quickly backed away, embarrassed. It felt like a miserable failure, and I almost fled to my office, worried she might accuse me of harassment. The rest of that day felt awkward. I focused on paperwork, trying to shake off my embarrassment. The following evening at home, my kids tried to cheer me up, unaware of what was bothering me. Lily eventually coaxed the story out of me, and she and Emma laughed at my failed attempt with Rebecca. "You can't expect a girl to drop everything for a date, especially out of the blue," Lily pointed out wisely. "Yeah, well, I haven't dated anyone in forever. It's different now," I replied. Emma teased me about my fashion choices back in the day, and we all shared a good laugh. Their playful banter helped me forget my frustrations, and soon we were engaged in a light-hearted pillow fight. The next day at work was tough. Rebecca seemed to avoid me, and I felt I had ruined our professional relationship. I kept to myself, focusing on my tasks. The following weeks, I had to travel to Dallas, something I rarely did anymore for the company. While packing, Danny joked, "While you're in Dallas, you should find a companion for hire." His sisters rolled their eyes, and a debate ensued, but I put an end to it. I'm not the type to pay for that kind of companionship. Besides, I'm not interested in that. "Have you asked Rebecca out again?" Emma asked. I sighed. "No, I've been avoiding her. It's embarrassing for both of us now. I may have ruined a good business relationship by doing what I did, and I don't know how to fix it." "Don't worry about fixing it, Dad. Just move on. She's probably thinking that you changed your mind and don't want her now. It will drive her crazy. Just be yourself. It will all work out. When you get back, it will have been 1 month," Emma reminded me. "I'm not going to be gone that long, Emma. Only a few days." "Only a few days, yeah, but it will have been a month the day you get back. Remember, you promised I could set you up when you return." I had forgotten about Emma wanting to set me up with this woman. I shook my head and admitted, "Okay, I promised you that, so I'll stand by my word. Just don't expect too much. It probably won't work out." "Well, you know she'll love you, Dad. You're everything the other men she's seen aren't. She's been looking too. I think you two will hit it off really well." I have to wonder why you're so eager to hook me up with this particular woman. What is she to you? Why are you pressing so hard?" "Oh, Dad, I'm just worried about you. I want you to be happy, and I think she could be the one to help with that. I like her a lot." "What's so special about her that I should know about?" "Well, she runs a small consulting business and is doing quite well. She's very professional and takes care of herself. I know you'd like her. Maybe even love her. It sounds like you've made up your mind. Sometimes a girl has to take charge. Ever since Mom left, you've been so sad. I worry about you. I was afraid you would think I might do something drastic. I should have seen that. I forgot about Rebecca's dad." Rebecca was one of Emma's best friends from Anderson High, and one day she came home to find an ambulance and police at her house. Her father had taken his own life after discovering his wife's affair. That tragedy left a lasting impact on the kids and was heartbreaking. They moved away after the funeral, and Emma lost touch with Rebecca shortly after. "Dad, I love you and want you to be happy. I think a good woman could help you get back to the man you used to be." "Okay, Emma, set up your date with... What's her name again?" Oh, her name is Jennifer. Jennifer Whitmore. She's really nice, about 5'8", and she's successful in her field. I think she's interested in getting to know you. I really do. Jennifer, huh? Okay then, set up the date for me. We'll find out if you're a good judge of people or not. Emma smiled and hugged me as she ran out of the room. I could hear her laughing and chatting on the phone a few minutes later, presumably with Jennifer. After that, the house grew quiet with the kids doing their homework while I relaxed in my home office. The next day at work, Rebecca Matthews came into my office and closed the door. Rebecca worked in our claims processing department and had been with the company for about 5 years. As a senior claims manager, I occasionally worked with her team on complex cases, and we'd always had a good professional relationship. I'd noticed her in those conversations I'd overheard by the copy machine. She was an attractive, intelligent woman in her early 30s who seemed to keep to herself. Mike, we need to talk to clear the air. We've been avoiding each other since you asked me out the other day. We need to fix this. It's beginning to hurt our business relationship. Ashamed, I knew she was right. I had been avoiding her, and the thought of addressing a failed attempt at dating was daunting. I had embarrassed myself, then let it become a bigger issue instead of trying to mend things with Rebecca. Look, I know I shocked you when I asked you out. I didn't give you a chance to respond. I acted like a fool and avoided you. I was afraid of being accused of workplace harassment. I'm sorry. I should never have asked you out in that way. The only thing I can say in my defense is that I've been single for a while now and haven't dated in over 15 years. I guess what I'm trying to say is, Rebecca was sitting there with an unreadable expression, making me even more nervous. Usually I was straightforward with everyone I worked with, but now I felt like a kid trying to escape trouble. Mike, when you asked me out, I was stunned. You had never shown any interest in me that way before. Then you got flustered and left me standing there, not knowing how to respond. I avoided you too because I thought you were playing some kind of game. But you're a handsome man, and I admire the work you do. I would be honored to go out with you on a date. You really would? I asked, surprised. She let out a throaty laugh that sent a tingle down my spine and placed her hands over mine. Oh yes, you silly man, I would. But when you asked me, I was shocked. You had never shown any interest in me before. It was so sudden, right in the middle of our conversation about a contract. I should have approached this more professionally, with proper conversation instead of such an abrupt question, don't you think? I apologize. I'll admit I haven't considered this kind of situation in many years, and I was nervous. You're an attractive woman, and I respect the quality of your work. Nervous? Please tell me more about the attractive part. It's nice to hear that from a colleague I respect. I felt myself starting to relax as the pressure lifted and that cloud hanging over my head began to dissipate. She would go out with me after all. I felt a warmth and excitement at the prospect. Then I remembered my daughter making that date for me with... What was her name? Jennifer. Oh darn. Dallas turned out to be a longer trip than expected, and the meetings were hectic. I was there to review a complex commercial liability claim that had been escalating for months. The client was pushing for settlement offers I simply couldn't provide given our company policies and the questionable nature of some of the damages claimed. After 3 days of negotiations and document review, I was certain I had lost the account by the last day. Then, unexpectedly, the client's legal team offered us the full contract renewal and additional business besides. They respected Lone Star Insurance's thoroughness and integrity in handling their claims. Either way, I scored big on this contract and was elated. Arriving home in Cedar Park, I tossed my bags on the couch as the kids swarmed me for kisses and hugs. Must have gone pretty well. Huh? Did you get a companion for hire? Danny joked. Come on. I thought I told you I wouldn't do something like that, I replied. Well, I figured you were just covering your bases. Sorry, but we need to talk someday. I think you've gotten some strange ideas lately. Danny quickly exited the room, probably wanting to avoid an awkward conversation. As a teenage boy with raging hormones, He didn't want to sit through any embarrassing discussions. I felt a bit relieved, honestly. I wasn't eager for that talk either. The first talk we'd had years ago had been tough enough. Dad, you're all set up for your date day after tomorrow at the Oasis on Lake Travis, Emma announced. Confused, I looked at her, wondering what she was talking about. Then it hit me, my date. Dad, are you losing your memory now too? You just caught me off guard, Emma. That's all. Well, she wanted to meet you somewhere with a view. You'll need to wear something nice. I'll help you pick something out. What if we don't hit it off like you think we will? Are you going to be okay with that? Oh yeah. But I'm pretty sure you will like her, Dad. Honestly, I know I do. She's great. Okay. You don't have to sell me on this. I'm going on the date, but I'm also going to try dating Rebecca from work too. Emma's face fell a bit when I mentioned Rebecca. I wondered if she would be able to handle it if my date with Jennifer didn't go as she hoped. The Oasis was known as the Sunset Capital of Texas, perched on a cliff overlooking Lake Travis. It was a popular spot for tourists and locals alike, and while it wasn't the most expensive place in Austin, I knew it would be a significant expense on top of supporting 3 kids as a single father. Arriving a bit early, the hostess seated me at a table with a spectacular view of the lake. I hadn't made the reservation, and she seemed quite happy to accommodate Ms. Whitmore's guest. The casual but upscale atmosphere made me feel more comfortable than I had expected, though I still felt nervous about this blind date. I sat there hoping Jennifer would live up to Emma's description. As the minutes passed, I began to feel more anxious. Then suddenly, a stir near the entrance caught my attention, and in walked a stunning blonde in an elegant but casual dress that perfectly suited the lakeside setting. She moved with confidence and grace that made several heads turn. To my astonishment, she approached my table and slid into the seat across from me. Wow, is this beautiful woman really my date? I thought. Holding out her hand gracefully, she introduced herself. You must be Mike. I'm Jennifer. Emma has told me so much about you. She paused, and I noticed a slight nervousness in her smile. I have to say, I'm a bit nervous about this whole setup. Your daughter can be quite persuasive. She's called me 3 times this week to make sure I hadn't changed my mind. Well, that makes 2 of us, I replied, feeling some relief that she was as uncertain as I was. Emma can be quite the force of nature when she sets her mind to something. I hope she didn't oversell me. We both laughed, and some of the initial tension lifted. I glanced at our server approaching, grateful for the interruption. Good evening, folks. Can I start you off with some drinks? He asked with the friendly Texas hospitality Austin was known for. I looked at Jennifer, feeling my tongue tie up again. She was smiling, a confident look on her face that made my heart race. Yes, wine. I think a glass of wine for both of us would be just right. Oh yes, I'd love that. Why don't you surprise us? Something local would be nice, Jennifer suggested. Perfect. We have an excellent Texas Hill Country wine that I think you'll both enjoy. Sounds great, I managed to say. As we waited, I felt increasingly flustered, unable to find my words. Jennifer was watching me, and then, as if sensing my discomfort, she made a suggestion. You know, after our drinks, perhaps we could take a walk down to the water. The sunset views from the deck are supposed to be amazing. That sounds perfect, I said, finally finding my voice. You are truly beautiful, really. I can't help but think Emma oversold me to you. She laughed softly, her charm disarming me. Any man who thinks I'm beautiful is someone I want to hear more from. Keep talking. Her laughter was soothing, and I felt the pressure lift off me. You're very beautiful, and I imagine this view can't compete with your smile. I felt embarrassed for my clumsy attempt at charm, not having been on a date for over 15 years. Emma warned me I might be rusty at this. Jennifer smiled knowingly. I'm sorry if this setting feels intimidating. Emma has been eager to set us up for quite some time. She talks about you constantly. She really admires you as a father. As we chatted and watched the sun begin to set over Lake Travis, the initial tension dissipated. I learned that Jennifer had met Emma at a business development seminar where Emma was volunteering. Jennifer ran a small marketing consulting firm that worked with local Austin businesses. Their connection had blossomed into a supportive friendship. I found myself drawn to Jennifer's intelligence, business acumen, and warmth, imagining a potential future with her. By the end of the evening, as we watched the famous Austin sunset paint the sky in brilliant colors, I felt hopeful and excited. When I got home to Cedar Park, Emma was the only one awake, her eyes bright with curiosity. "So, Dad, how did it go? Isn't she beautiful, like I said?" "Yes, she is quite beautiful and very nice. You were right about her. I'd like to get to know her better." Emma pumped her fist in the air, clearly thrilled. "Yes, I knew you would hit it off. Emma, it's not like it's a contest or anything. I hardly think you should be acting like you won something. But I was right, Dad. You two did hit it off. You like her. To me, that's a big win. It's a real big deal." Her excitement was quite comical to watch, so I let her have her fun. I was mildly embarrassed to know that I was the reason, or rather, my date was the reason, for her celebration. "So did you kiss her? Did she kiss you?" No, we didn't kiss. It was a first date, after all." "Oh, no kissing at all? You sound disappointed." "Emma, it was just our first date. Sometimes people don't kiss on first dates, you know. I had hoped that we'd share a moment. But let's just say I really would love to take her out again. As a matter of fact, I made a date with her for next Sunday. We're going to rent paddle boats on Lady Bird Lake and then have a picnic at Zilker Park." I also told her I was considering dating Rebecca, or rather that I was planning to take Rebecca out at least once too. She seemed okay with that. She told me she appreciated my honesty. "Oh no, Dad, you shouldn't have told her that. Besides, if you're as taken with Jennifer as you say, why not just cancel your date with Rebecca and focus on pursuing Jennifer?" "I'm in no real hurry to pursue anyone, Emma. This dating thing could take a long time, and I may need to explore different connections in the process. I want to be as certain as I can be that the next person I ask to marry me, should it come to that, is someone I can trust." I lost my train of thought as I reminded myself of my ex. I could feel that pain, softer now but still there nonetheless. Trust, Dad. Someone you can trust. Unlike Mom. Yes, I had gotten quiet. I spoke so quietly I hardly heard myself. Emma stepped into my arms and hugged me tightly. I could feel her tears on my cheeks. You'd have thought after several years I'd have gotten over my cheating ex-wife. Evidently, I still had some issues. When we broke apart, I saw that Emma had been crying too. That made me feel a little better inside, knowing my pain wasn't mine alone. I hated that I had this pain to begin with, and I hated that my children had to suffer it with me. At the same time, it was good to know that my children loved me in spite of everything that had happened. "I'm sorry, Dad. I guess I forgot how much Mom's cheating had hurt you. I thought you were all over it now." "Don't be sorry, Emma. You have gone a long way to helping me get over it all. You and your brother and sister too. It is time for me to move on with my life. Obviously, your mother did a long time ago." Over the next few months, I dated either Jennifer or Rebecca regularly. I'll be honest, this arrangement troubled me deeply. Growing up in Texas, I was raised with traditional values about relationships and commitment. The idea of seeing two women simultaneously, even with their knowledge and consent, went against everything I'd been taught about treating people with respect. I found myself praying about it at the small Methodist church I'd started attending with the kids, asking for guidance on how to handle the situation honorably. But both women knew about each other, and neither seemed to expect exclusivity at this stage. Still, I knew this arrangement couldn't continue indefinitely. It wasn't fair to anyone involved, and it wasn't the example I wanted to set for my children. With Rebecca, our relationship had become more intimate, something I hadn't expected when we started. Jennifer and I, however, were growing together slowly. She was setting the pace in a way that felt right for both of us, and I was very willing to allow that. One evening, about my fourth date with Rebecca, we were saying good night at the door of her apartment in the Riverside area. Things were heating up as we went along, and she soon invited me inside. We had shared some intimate moments before, so I wasn't expecting more than an evening of closeness and then going home, something I had gotten comfortable with. I was feeling quite excited, but I also wasn't sure I was ready to take things to the next level with another woman just yet. On our last date, Rebecca was kissing me, and before I could react, she paused. I think she was apprehensive too, or at least that's what I thought at the time. We went inside and kissed some more. Rebecca mentioned she wanted to get more comfortable, so she headed off to her bedroom while I sat on the couch in her living room, waiting patiently for her to return. Part of the reason I enjoyed being with Rebecca was that it reminded me of my college days at UT, making me feel much younger than I actually was. Plus, she was an amazing woman to be around. When Rebecca finally came out of her bedroom, I didn't see her until she stepped around the couch and settled beside me. She had changed into something more comfortable. She kissed me, wrapping her arms around my neck and holding me close. We began to explore our connection more intimately when I suddenly remembered something important. Oh, I should mention, I'm not prepared for this. Do you have any concerns, Rebecca? No, but it's responsible to discuss things like that before moving forward. Look, I know this might sound presumptuous, but given what everyone heard about your situation last year with your ex-wife's health issues, and the fact that Emma mentioned you and Jennifer are taking things slowly, I figured you've been careful about your health. I certainly have been. Emma? I was surprised. She told you about Jennifer? Yeah. She mentioned she hoped you and Jennifer would develop something meaningful. That's when I realized I needed to be honest about what I wanted. I've been attracted to you for a long time, but now that we're here, I feel like I should be clear about my expectations. I'm hoping we can share something special together, even if it's more casual. I hope you're open to spending more time together like this. Of course I'd love that. But what if this doesn't work out the way we hope? I've never been looking for something serious with you, Mike. I just want something enjoyable while I figure out what I really want in life. I'm not ready for marriage or anything like that. So this is more of a friends with benefits situation? Honestly, you're a wonderful man and I care about you, but I don't see this as leading to marriage. I hope that's okay. I think we have great chemistry, just not the deeper connection I'm looking for long-term. Will you still want to spend time together occasionally? Of course. I hope I haven't misled you about my intentions. Oh no, not at all. I'd like to keep this going for a while if you're interested. That sounds perfect. The next morning I found myself in my kitchen thinking about both Rebecca and Jennifer. I was involved with two wonderful women. One I was trying to connect with in a more traditional way, and the other who was simply looking for companionship. I felt a mix of confusion and contentment with how things had unfolded. Rebecca's honesty about wanting a casual relationship actually helped me. I no longer felt anxious about taking things slowly with Jennifer, especially when I had physical needs that Rebecca was happy to fulfill with no romantic strings attached. I found I was comfortable with this arrangement. Then, on our next date, something unexpected happened with Jennifer. She decided to take our relationship to a new level, and it caught me completely off guard. After dinner at a cozy restaurant in South Austin, I invited her to my house for coffee. As I played some music in the living room, she returned from the kitchen and handed me a cup. When I turned to thank her, I was taken aback to find her in a more revealing outfit than when she'd left the room. At that moment, I realized there was no point in lingering over coffee, so I embraced the moment. Afterward, as we relaxed together, I marveled at how our relationship had transformed so quickly. We shared soft kisses and held hands, feeling closer than before. As she left that night, her goodbye kiss lingered in my mind. Once she was gone, I called to let her know I had arrived safely, something I had never done with my ex or felt compelled to do with Rebecca. I reflected on the evening when my daughter Emma came in and hugged me. "How was your date, Dad?" she asked. I replied, "It went very well. but I noticed her knowing smirk and realized she had caught on to something. I excused myself to the bathroom, where I noticed my shirt was buttoned incorrectly and my hair was disheveled. Jennifer had definitely had an effect on me. When I returned, Emma teased me about it, asking if we were getting serious. I fumbled, realizing I had inadvertently revealed more than I intended. "Well, let's just say we're getting to know each other much better," I said with some embarrassment. Emma grinned. "I'm just glad to see you happy, Dad. Jennifer is perfect for you." I was left to ponder my feelings about this new development. Was I falling in love with Jennifer? Could my relationship with Rebecca continue as things with Jennifer became more serious? On my next date with Rebecca, I sensed a change within myself. We went to her place, and while we had a pleasant evening together, I felt somewhat detached, almost like I was going through the motions. As I got ready to leave, she confronted me about my behavior. "So you and Jennifer are getting closer, huh? Are we reaching the end of our arrangement?" "I'm sorry, Rebecca. I'm not sure what's happening with me," I admitted. She was quiet for a moment, and I could see her processing this. "It's not like I'm going to spread gossip around the office," she said finally, though I detected a slight edge in her voice. "We agreed this was just physical, and that's all it's been, no love, just companionship. But I'll be honest, Mike, I'm going to miss this more than I expected. You're a good man." She paused, looking away briefly. "If you found someone you truly care for and want to build something with, then you should pursue that. I won't stand in your way, but don't expect me to pretend this doesn't sting a little." "Rebecca, I'm not sure what to say. You're beautiful and I care about you deeply, but you're right. It's not love in the way of wanting to spend my life with someone. I value what we've shared. For a second there, I thought you might be developing feelings for me. But honestly, if you and Jennifer have a chance at real happiness together, you should pursue that. She's a keeper, and I can see it in your eyes. You're falling in love with her. It was obvious tonight. I hope someday I can find what you and Jennifer have as both a partner and a companion. I might be making a mistake not exploring something more serious with you, but I know you don't feel for me the way I'm starting to feel for Jennifer. That's okay. I'll be fine. We'll be fine. Just remember, this was always casual for both of us. And Jennifer is clearly the one who has captured your heart. You need to focus on her now." We parted that night with a friendly kiss. Rebecca was a wonderful person, and I would never forget her kindness during this transitional time in my life. I was relieved to know she was genuinely okay with keeping things light. It allowed me to feel free to pursue Jennifer without guilt. 2 years have passed since that night, and Rebecca and I still work well together at Lone Star Insurance. I received a promotion to senior claims manager and made sure Rebecca got the recognition she deserved as well. Even if we hadn't been involved, I would have recognized her talent and dedication. Rebecca found a man she loves, a professor at UT, and they're planning to get married next spring. She asked me to give her away since her father passed away several years ago. I accepted, knowing how happy she is, and I sincerely hope her marriage brings her all the joy she deserves. As for Jennifer and me, our relationship deepened over the following months. I proposed to her in December 2024 during a sunset dinner at the Oasis, the same place where we'd had our first date. We married 6 months later in a beautiful ceremony at the Austin Club. Emma and Lily were bridesmaids, and Danny was my best man. The path to that altar wasn't always smooth. The kids needed time to adjust to having another woman in their father's life, and Jennifer was patient with their occasional coolness and testing. But gradually, her genuine care for them and respect for their mother's place in their hearts won them over. Jennifer is everything I've ever wanted in a wife, and I feel incredibly fortunate that we found each other. Emma is thriving at UT as a senior now, pursuing her business degree while working part-time, while Danny is about to graduate high school and head off to Texas A&M. Lily, now 16 and a junior at Anderson High, reminds me so much of her sister in her determination and intelligence. The family has blended beautifully, and everyone gets along wonderfully. Jennifer has been an amazing stepmother, and the kids adore her. In a twist of fate, my ex-wife Patricia ended up with significant health and personal problems. I learned from Emma that she was hospitalized due to complications related to her lifestyle choices over the past few years. While I felt no satisfaction in her suffering, I couldn't help but reflect on how differently our lives had turned out. Emma and I discussed it briefly, both of us recognizing that people face the consequences of their choices, but neither of us taking pleasure in another person's pain. Austin has been good to us. We've built a new life here, found love again, and created a strong family unit. Sometimes the most beautiful sunsets come after the stormiest days. Thank you for your viewing. See you next time. If you enjoyed this, subscribe to JK Tells a Story for more tales.